the format of our, again, as I mentioned before, our last full virtual RDU Tableau user group to full meeting mode, as opposed to a true webinar where we've got the speakers and you all are kind of off camera, off microphone. So we just ask that if you are in the audience, that you would mute your line. But we will have opportunity later in the event for Q&A, also for full full interaction. So we want you to be involved just like you were in person. So we have changed the format so we can see you, we can hear you, but if you'll just mute yourself during the presentations, and then we'll have opportunity for interaction, for questions, for participation and things like that later in the event. So without further ado, I did send out an email just a few seconds ago. So I want to give just make sure we've got everybody here. But we'll let everybody kind of trickle in. We've got some participants rolling in. So, but without further ado, I want to get us started because I value your time. I value our panelists' time. I had to think about what kind of meeting we were having here. So we are having a server panel tonight. So I'm very excited about our guests here that I personally know or have met or have seen. And so I'm super excited for them tonight. But again, this is our first quarter Raleigh Durham Tableau user group. So yay, everybody. We're so excited that you're all here. We're excited to host our first quarter Tableau user group. And we just could not be more thrilled about a new year and the new opportunities that come. Just to give you a little, we're going to talk about this throughout the evening and at the end now, but I just want to give you a taste. We've had lots of interest in sponsoring our user group, in hosting, in presenting. So we've got a lot of things on the docket for this year. So we kind of try to think about a year at a time for our Tableau user group. And we've got a lot of things on the docket for this year. So I just want to kind of whet your appetite for what 2022 could bring and I'm just going to put it out there, will bring. It's going to be very exciting. And so we've got a lot of things planned for you, our Raleigh Durham Tableau user group. And so I want you all to get plugged in, to get excited, and to be part of this great community that again, I didn't build it. Jesse didn't build it. Ken didn't build it. You all built it. We all built it together. So this is truly a community, one that I am extremely proud to be a part of. So as we get kicked off with 2022, I'm excited about the future that we have. I'm excited about the opportunities that we have, and want to continue this train. So without further ado, let's just jump right in, and I'm going to go through our kind of we call them typical slides, but let's not beat around the bush. They're not typical. This is so exciting. All the people that are here, that have registered, and that we have in our community. Even the people that registered. So I think we had something like 170 some odd people register for this event. We don't pretend that that's the full swath of our user group, because let's be honest, when I send out our emails, we send out thousands of emails to people within our scope and our reach. So this is just kind of a scraping the tip of the iceberg of our community here, our Tableau community, our data and analytics community here in the Raleigh Durham Tableau user group. We're super excited about the partnership with Red Hat. Hopefully, Paul and Ben, you guys will let us on your campus at some point this year. We'll be able to host a user group at Red Hat. Again, Marty, UNC Health showing up really strong. So we've hosted events at UNC before, so we know that you're a big part of our Tableau community here in Raleigh and Chapel Hill, and so we want to continue to utilize you all and what you bring to our Tableau community. First Citizens, super exciting. Cisco still holding it down strong, but you see here. So I'm going to be honest. Those of you that are on this call right now, we're gonna be frank and cut to the point. I want you all to take a screenshot of this to see what companies are out there, what companies are represented, what types of positions, who all is here. Like, this is, not only is it your community, it's your network, but also could potentially be, and that kind of leads us into our next slide, could potentially be your next phase of your career. And so I know there's a lot of companies that are hiring. I mean, again, we're family here. Let's not beat around the bush. This is the time of the great resignation, as they're calling it. So maybe your next opportunity is with a company that's right here listed on this slide. So I want this community, again, this is my family, this is your family. I want this network to be a family. Maybe you're not happy with where you are. Maybe you're looking for a new challenge. Maybe you're, whatever the case is, these are opportunities that you have. These are things within our community that I just want to grow. And I want our community, our family, to just be one where you don't have to feel like you're stuck. You don't have to feel like, you don't know where you're going, and, oh, my organization is not, we're not using Tableau. We're not doing, no, that's not the point. We don't want you to be stuck. We don't want you to feel like you are, you're all on your own, because this community is a network. It's a community. It's a family of Tableau users. And the more we talk about this, I know I may sound like I'm coming off as very zealous and passionate, but this is what I've been doing for 10 years. And I'm so excited about it 10 years later, as I am the first Tableau user group I ever went to. So again, I want you to take a screenshot, look at the companies that are represented, look at the types of positions that are represented, and just see the vast expanse and the kind of our community. So this is, I don't want this to be a throwaway slide. I want us to really take into account who we are and where we come from, and that way we can continue to build this community out. So that leads me into our next slide. Oh, I love Max and I hate Max. There we go. All right, so I can't just click on it. All right, so have a job, need a job. I'm going to toss this over to our other fellow community group leader, Tableau user group leader, Jesse Bickman. Jesse, would you do us the honor of leading us in, we haven't had this in a while, but a have a job, need a job session?
Absolutely, and thanks for the great transition into that, Chris. So I'm going to drop a link into the chat to our community page on Tableau's website. Ordinarily, we do have a job, need a job in an environment that's not recorded and posted on YouTube. So if you are looking for a job, you can put that in the chat and it won't be on the recording. And if you are trying to find somebody to work for you, you may also put that into the chat or post it onto the community page that I just linked. Some folks have pinged me during Chris's introduction asking if it's okay to post jobs. It is absolutely okay. It is encouraged that you post them in both those places. So if anyone's looking for a job or is hiring somebody, feel free to share that information. This is the time to do it, and this is the place to do it. So if you have a job or you need a job, post it in the chat, post it on the community page.
Jesse, I've never done this before, but I'm going to post it. I can't share I'm already sharing my screen, so I can't get out there, but I'm going to post, we have a position at Enact open, Enact Mortgage Insurance, Raleigh, North Carolina. We do mortgage insurance, but we're not just an insurance company. I mean, we handle it all from, our business intelligence line. We handle all lines of our business, from marketing to our risk department to our sales, customer solutions, all across the board. So we've got lots of great opportunities. Matt, thanks for sharing. We got a lot of opportunities coming up. But yeah, I'm going to try to find our chat here on my phone and then share this opportunity. So if you are looking for a career change, a job, fantastic opportunities here across the board. So
And
look
Chris,
at that. We got multiples.
I just want to throw a plug out there. I'm not personally hiring at Red Hat. And for those who don't know me, I'm Paul McHale, but Red Hat is hiring Tableau talent. Not with me and the TCOE, working with me and Ben, but we would love to support you. I'll put a link in the chat here in a minute. I think we have 10 or 11 jobs on our job site in the Raleigh area, remote or office, where we're looking for Tableau talent, and 3 of them are on the people analytics team. So I've got good contacts in the people analytics team. If you've worked with people data in the past, check those out. But you'll see a few others in there. So I'll throw the link and search for the Raleigh area. Look for both Raleigh and NC remote. So we got about 10 or 11, so check them out.
And Paul, you said they're fully, I just wanted to capture that. They're fully remote?
Well, one of them is flagged as Raleigh. Everything else is remote. So just search both Raleigh and NC remote and you'll find them.
Awesome. And I saw a few other people in there. Entry level, any of yours entry level, Paul, or anybody else?
A couple of mine are, yes.
Great.
Not
Yep. Yeah, that's our bag as well. Not necessarily entry level. All right, I do not see my computer on AirDrop. Okay, that's fine. Okay. Jesse, anything else? Any need a job? You want to?
It looks like we got a really active chat. Feel free to put everything in the chat throughout the rest of the meeting. My segment is over.
Okay, well, fantastic. Well, again, yeah, same thing from the reverse side that Jesse said. If you are looking for a career and you want it, or a career change, post your resume, put your resume in our community page. Just fantastic opportunities there. Yeah, so the Samaritan's Purse, thank you, Matt, for posting that. They're actually they're part of our High Country Tableau user group, and those of you that tuned in, thank you for our NC virtual Tableau user group. We host those annually, and I know that the High Country is involved, Charlotte, us, we're places in South Carolina, the Carolinas virtual Tableau user group. They're all, yay, Stephanie. All right. Yeah, I was not going to call you out by name, but yes, that I saw it on your LinkedIn page the other day. So, all right. So let's jump into the next page. We will mention it more about it. We'll talk more about what we are doing as an RDU tug for TC22, but just FYI, TC22, it is happening live or virtual. So those of you that want to be in person in Vegas in May, there are still, Ken, I need some Tableau insights here. Are there still tickets available?
As of this morning, yes, there are still some tickets available.
So
get them while they're hot,
now.
'cause they're going quick.
TC22.tableau.com. Go and register now. If you're on the fence and you even have an idea, there are a limited number of tickets. I don't know if it's been publicized how many there are, if they've changed, but
It's definitely capped, and it hasn't been this small since before 2012. If
Yep.
you can do the math.
Do the math. I remember we almost went to the one in DC up in, I guess it was technically Virginia, where Malcolm Gladwell was, and I was so sad that I missed that one, but because that was the closest one that came to the East Coast since 2013. So yes, so that was very, very small. So Emily, so excited that you're able to go in person. I hope that a lot more of you are. Hey, if you're coming in person, let us know. Especially if you're coming in person, I'm going to put it in the chat when I go off screen in a minute. Our Charlotte local NC Charlotte Tableau user group leader, Jeremy Poole, has a dashboard and a Google form that you can fill out to let people know when you're coming and what time you'll be there. And then chances are, I'm just going to put this out there for those of you that are coming in person, chances are if you get on that group thing, you'll be added to the group chat. You'll know about all of the secret parties that happen at TC. So those people that if you know, right? Is that what the kids are saying these days? If you know, follow the link, put your stuff on there, and then you'll be invited to some really cool after parties and things like that. So I can guarantee it. So fill out that. Yes, but virtually, for those of you that can't attend, we don't want to, yes, Juan, we will surely do that. For those of you that can't attend, no worries. We know it's limited, it's very last minute. So, but we as the RDU Tug want to do something special. Jesse will talk about that after our presentations. But without further ado, any of my fellow Tug leaders want to say anything before we jump into our first session? I'll take that as a no. And without further ado, I'm going to use my, I should have been using this the whole time with my little button down there. All right. Well, I'm going to introduce our server panel, and then Ken is going to be our moderator. Our moderator is Ken Patton, who has, to be honest, forgotten more about Tableau than I will ever know. So Ken, I'm super honored that you are not only part of our Tug leadership, you're with Tableau, you're my always, I mean, I stole my job title after you. So I'm always honored to be with you and that you're going to moderate this panel. But I'm also super excited for Marty Light from UNC Health, for Ben from now Truist, who I think, Ben, you codified Tableau and Tableau Server at Cisco. So I'm super excited to hear from you. And then Ben Hart from Red Hat. Ben, you have some, Paul has definitely talked a lot about you. So I'm excited to hear from you about server. But Ken, I will let you take it away. I'm going to go on mute. I'm going to mute my video, and it is all about these geniuses here on our server panel. I'm so excited to learn from you all. So take it away, Ken.
All right, right on, and thank you, gentlemen. So let's go through it. We'll go in order of Chris's slides. So Marty, and then Ben, and then Benjamin. So first of all, tell us a little bit about your current role in terms of what do you administer at your respective employer? Is it server or online? If you want to make a comment about how big it is or whatever, that's up to you in terms of, users or whatever cores, whatever measures you use. That's strictly up to you. And then maybe say a word or two about how did you get into that line of work? How did you come to become a Tableau server or online administrator? And Marty, you can start first.
Okay. Everyone hear me okay?
Yep.
Okay, great. Well, I should say I'm honored to serve on the panel today. This is kind of a first for me. I've been at UNC since early 2017, and I was brought on board to administer Tableau and originally to also administer SAS for a new area, a new division at UNC Health, the analytics area called Enterprise Analytics and Data Science. So the original idea was, I kind of joke about it now, they said you'll spend about 15% of your time doing administration of Tableau and the rest will be SAS administration. SAS is kind of a different animal in that regard, and can be a good bit more difficult. It ended up being exactly the opposite, if not more so of a Tableau administration situation, because it was the shiny new tool that had just come on board. There was no one there to administer it right off the bat. They had someone kind of fill in, but it was brand new. Everybody was all excited, and unfortunately, we kind of let the horse out of the barn, and we've spent the last 5 years trying to bring him back in. So it's been a good bit of a struggle to to put some guardrails, around the usage. We do have a large, we have about 250 Tableau developers using Tableau Desktop, not at any given time, but overall we have that many creator licenses, and then we allow for about 50,000 users of the server, although we really only have about less than 12, a little under 12,000 active at any given time. Stop me from running on. I don't know how long I'm supposed to have here, but
I think that's good.
Okay.
We'll
can
have
stop
other
there for
questions
now.
for you, so we'll cycle back to you. Thanks, Marty.
Okay. There you go.
How about you, Ben Torgerson? How did you end up where you did?
Sure, thanks, Ken. So I've been using Tableau since about 2012. I started off as the Tableau architect at Cisco. The enterprise team adopted it after Ken and his team had great success with it within the business. We saw all the great stuff they were creating, and we said, hey, this needs to be available to the whole company. And we did that there for about 5 years. I then left Cisco and joined BB&T, which is now Truist. And for the past 3 years, Tableau, or so about the time I joined, Tableau was adopted as an enterprise BI tool. And since then, we've been growing it. We've gone from, I think, 3 teams using it across the company to over 100 now that we've engaged. We have about 800 people with creator licenses at the bank, but we have a much smaller end user community. It's like 6,000. So we're definitely hoping to grow our people viewing the dashboards over time as well. But I think I've been to 7 or 8 Tableau conferences, spoken at 2 of them. So Tableau is definitely in my blood. I love using it. And so now, I'm part of the enterprise data office. And I'll also mention that Tableau was chosen as an enterprise platform at Truist because of the success that Jesse Bickman and his team had deploying Tableau server before I ever even joined. So they also were in the business and did a lot of great stuff. And the rest of the company said, hey, we want this for everyone. So looking forward to chatting more.
I can see a pattern there. Okay, how about you, Ben Hart?
I think I'm actually going to be a bit of an outlier here. So I work for Red Hat, obviously. We are a Tableau online instance, and I'm actually part of the Tableau Center of Excellence at Red Hat. So I work very closely with the admin team, but not directly being the administrator for the platform. Obviously with Tableau Online, we don't have to worry about that sort of configuration stuff, but plenty of business processes that are important for making sure that users are getting what they need to out of Tableau. I came into this role after being a Tableau consultant, so I had a bunch of experience working with a bunch of different businesses and a bunch of different industries, working with Tableau migrations, dashboard creation, general training, and just kind of like helping enterprises build out processes to make the most use of Tableau. I was a manager at a certain point for that consulting company, and I kind of just really got a lot of joy out of being someone who enables people to make the most use out of Tableau, and kept doing that in my Tableau Center of Excellence role at Red Hat. It's nice being able to be a part of this community, be a part of these wider communities, and just a little fun plug that it's fun talking to a bunch of people from Raleigh from my basement in New York. So glad to be a part of the community despite not being geographically relevant, I guess.
Everybody's welcome here, everybody. And you're not the only New Yorker on the bridge, by the way, so don't feel
I can feel the welcoming for sure.
All right, cool. And on the next question around, we may flip the direction for you, Ben, but we'll get back to that. So we'll start again with Marty. As a server admin, do you, and if so, how do you engage with like site admins and project leaders and folk like that? And if you have a center of excellence, do you participate in that or engage with it? What's your general approach to keeping your platform duties as a Tableau server admin connected to the community at large within your organization?
Good question. We started out with a community for Tableau Center of Excellence that mostly consisted of the new division, Enterprise Analytics Data Science, and the division I'm in, ISD or IT. So it was sort of a combination of those two that made up the TCOE. Unfortunately, I've always felt like we had a lot of discussion, but we didn't have a lot of action. And after a few years, we bring new people on board, and things just didn't really move forward. We never could really settle on the best way of our approaches. We didn't really. This was before Tableau came out with their blueprint, which would have probably helped us tremendously, guide us, but we just didn't do that. And so we have a small team of admins, couple of other server administrators, but I'm sort of the lead administrator, and of course we're an on-premise environment. We do have a couple of site admins, but we really only we sort of employ a traditional waterfall dev UAT production type scenario for bringing dashboards up to speed in production, and we accomplish that with one server environment and 2 sites, like a dev UAT site and then a production site. So we don't truly maintain multiple servers to achieve that. We just maintain the one server.
Okay, gotcha. How about you, Ben Torgerson? Do you work with a center of excellence or your site admins at all, or how do you engage with the developer community within the Tableau space?
Yeah, great question. And I should mention, I am part of the Business Intelligence Center of Excellence team at Truist. And we do have some production support teams who might be considered more of the official admins, but I still have admin rights, so I still do a lot of admin work. But one of the things that I've always loved about Tableau is the concept of sites. At Cisco, we had spun up 400 sites, and some people will really balk at that. And at Truist, we're at 100 now. And I expect we'll continue to grow, because any business team that wants to start using Tableau, we spin up a site for them and say, hey, you go at it. Site admins really are the workhorses of our community. While the Center of Excellence will set best practice standards and provide templates and training, and we have a really extensive SharePoint community where we put lots of training information and information about connecting to the various enterprise data sources at the bank. We really ask the site admins, hey, this is your content. They're allowed to publish to our lower environments, dev, UAT, and production staging anytime they want. Those are all 4 different server environments. But then in order to go to production, we do have to have a little bit of governance and a little bit of auditability. So we do have an enterprise process to move that way. But we really do engage with the site admins a lot. We have a weekly meeting where it's a bit of Q&A and we'll go over stuff. We have weekly doctor hours with our developers. We have monthly meetings. We have a monthly Center of Excellence meeting. We also have a monthly Tableau Tech Talk that Tableau puts on, which is more kind of training focused and new things. So, we like to focus on those site admins as they're the people I consider my clients more than almost anyone else. So we help them be successful so that then they can run their own site.
Impressive. So Ben Hart, you said you're kind of more on the COE side of this, so maybe we do a mirror image. How do you engage with the platform owners, or if you engage with them, or what do you see as the relationship between the administrators that keep the lights on and the community that produces and publishes the content?
So actually, I think this is going to be a great opportunity to kind of fold both of these talking points in on each other, because we have what I think is a relatively sort of, maybe not unique, but pretty effective system for sort of delegating some of the like promotion of content, really empowering the end users to sort of help manage their business the way that they want to manage it. So we don't have site admins, obviously one site for Tableau Online, but we've really broken out the sort of Tableau Online environment into distinct business units. They're all sort of governed by designated owners of those business units. And the admin team has worked to sort of create some automated processes to allow them to grant permissions at the speed that they need to publish content up through that promotion cycle at the speed that they need to. So what it's really sort of created are these areas where different business units have their own way of sort of moving content through that development cycle, and connecting to different data sources and managing their content specifically how they need to. And the admin team sort of, as he said, they keep the lights on, they make sure that the platform is stable, they test the tech out. But the TCOE, we work much more sort of frequently and closely with those business owners, as well as kind of from the bottom up, helping people get into the Tableau Online environment. So we thought it was pretty cute. We sort of designated our like prime areas of focus as an acronym that, TCOE, Tableau Center of Excellence. We work to, create training to benefit the developers, to make sure that they're, able to be successful at any level of their development. I'm panikedly scanning my notes, so I would probably be able to speak to it better just off the cuff. Consulting, we do sort of like internal consulting to work with the developers themselves, understand their use cases, just kind of be the sort of, the experts of the tool there. Onboarding, making sure that people that are new to the platform have a sort of efficient way of getting on to the platform. And this has some close collaboration with the admin team to make sure that they're sort of getting their licenses in a timely fashion. We have an automated way of granting licenses by putting them into LDAP groups, which then allows them to use grant license at sign in, which was extremely helpful for, again, keeping that sort of in the hands of the business owners to operate at the speed that they want to. And enablement, which is just sort of generally fostering a excited community of Tableau users. And we do that by sort of bringing, the Tableau excitement for Tableau conference and having regular or facilitating regular meetings with the admin team. So, there's a chance for those big business users to have a forum to talk to the platform team to, kind of get their voices heard and escalate things and talk about any like tech issues that they're facing. So, I think it has similar structures, but, I think the TCOE is kind of a glue that holds all of those areas together by sort of seeing what the business user sees a little more directly and understanding what the admin team is sort of going through and what their priorities are and how we sort of translate across that barrier.
All right. Well, okay. We might have to see if we can put you on tour to teach others how to set up a TCOE. You got a lot going on there.
Not saying it's easy.
Way to keep the bar high. I like that. All right. We're going to get a little nerdier now and put more of our server administrator hats on. So I might skip over you on the next question or two. Don't take offense to that. Starting with you, Marty, again. I call it the G word, but in your environment, how do you handle governance? And while you're at it, let's talk a little bit about server maintenance. How do you do patches, upgrades, migrations, things of that nature? Just
okay. Real quick, I failed to mention we at UNC we have a monthly sort of internal Tableau user group meeting, which is more geared toward the Tableau developers. But we to go back to the previous question, that's we've been successful doing that, and then we have kind of a broader analytics community meeting also once a month that includes Tableau, but also includes some of the other analytic tools. So data governance, that is a big topic, and it's pretty hot at UNC. We've, I probably should have updated what my title is to Jesse. I had forgotten it still says SAP BO administration. I'm no longer doing that, but I am sort of a backup administrator for Informatica. So at UNC, we have more than just Tableau to govern. We have business objects and we have Epic as a healthcare system, and those are reporting tools that we have to incorporate, and so we have to govern data typically that comes out of Epic and makes its way into our data warehouse. And so while Tableau has come on board in recent years with the Tableau Data Manager add-on, we were already in the process of using Informatica to do our data governance and build our data governance around that. So I'm still on the sort of periphery of administration of that, but that's more of a long range goal for data governance. Our immediate, within Tableau itself, I mentioned having 2 sites. We place all the developers into their own team so that they can share data sources among themselves. And we're desperately trying to reel in the proliferation of data sources so that we can, start sharing those more and more and making that as easy as possible. So.
All right. What about upgrades? How often do you upgrade Tableau server versions?
We've probably averaged about once a year, but we've never been on a strict cadence. I'm in the middle of trying to get 2021.4 put in place, and we hope to do that by the end of April. And I'm hoping we can truly get into a twice a year cadence following this upgrade. I think that I know Tableau is now, I think they will put out a major release of Tableau Server twice a year now instead of every quarter. So if we could kind of get on board with that, I think that would serve us really well.
Okay, sounds good. How about you, Ben Torgerson? How do you handle the G word and
Sure. And I tell you, it's been tough coming from Cisco and moving to a bank. Because banks care a lot more about governance than we ever did at Cisco, where we let anyone and everyone publish directly to production whenever they wanted to get something new out there. But at Truist, we do have some processes, some corporate processes in place where every piece of information that you generate, every email, every document has to be tagged with a data risk classification, whether it's public or internal or private or restricted. And so we didn't do that initially with Tableau, but we're now implementing that with some automation that we're building, and we'll talk about later, I think, in this call. But that will help us determine which content needs maybe a little bit of extra oversight, a little bit of extra testing, some high-risk classifications where we know that that content has to be supported a little bit more. We, of course, have everyone accessing the system through Active Directory groups, right? You can't just add users willy-nilly. And that's something that the site admins take care of. And then I think I mentioned earlier that while we allow people to publish to dev and UAT and even production staging at their own schedule, in order to move it to production, it does come through our team, through our production support team, in which there will be some automated code reviews that are done that are also being automated as we speak. Hopefully it goes live at the end of next month. And hopefully I can present on it in Tableau conference next year. I'm a big believer that any governance we have has to be fast, efficient. You can't schedule calls with people to review their content. It has to be all immediate and automated where possible. Always, not just where possible. And then when it comes to upgrading our system, we are on a twice-a-year cadence and have been for the past 3 years. We're usually about 9 months behind the state of the art. We like to wait until the 0.7 or 0.8 or maybe even 0.9 release of a major release, because being a bank, people aren't allowed to install software themselves, so we have to package the Tableau Desktop and Tableau Prep software and make it available in ServiceNow, and that's kind of a painful process. So once we get it in place, we don't want to have to touch it for another 6 months. But we do also like to always stay as current as possible. I remember when I was at Cisco talking to some other folks who worked at banks, and they were 2-3 years behind the standard release because it was that hard for them to get new software deployed. So that's worked really well for us. Our users are really happy with that. Tableau is a great product when it comes to being able to upgrade quickly. It's an easy install. We typically have about a month from the time we begin the upgrade till when production is done, going through 4 different environments. So we do all of our testing during that time, and it generally has been very smooth.
Cool. So Ben Hart, you don't have to worry too much about upgrades since Tableau Online, Tableau takes care of that for you. But do you have any thoughts on how governance should be handled in your kind of climate?
Sure. I am going to touch very quickly on this notion of upgrades because we do have to manage our desktop space upgrade cadence separately. The server space obviously is upgraded when Tableau says it, and we have some ongoing conversations with them just about like what communication looks like around the upgrade cadence and sort of rollout of functionality. So it's not trivial, but it's much easier, obviously, as well as sort of working with Tableau Bridge as a sort of extension of that and making sure that we can work effectively with Tableau Online from within our firewall. And that has been a bit of an effort, but it happened mostly before I got to Red Hat. So at this point, it's extremely stable. And I'm pretty happy with the functionality of it now, given sort of some of the errors that had to be dealt with before. There's some functionality delta that is like not ideal, but we've been able to work around it at this point pretty effectively. So I know Bridge can kind of be a rough subject for some folks, but at this point, I'm impressed with how far and how quickly Tableau was able to sort of get it. I think we helped out a lot by finding a lot of bugs for him. In fact, our technical manager has joked a couple times that he's happy there's no bug bounty program for Bridge, because that would have been a bad
gift
thing.
that keeps on giving in the world of Tableau Online. Okay.
But in any case, happy with it, love it as a tool, and definitely helps out because sort of looping back into governance. We kind of have our architecture. We have a data virtualization platform that all of the data gets exposed through. So there's a sort of team that manages sort of creating the data views that are exposed through that data virtualization platform. That makes it relatively straightforward to connect to it from Tableau. So sort of what gets exposed through that data virtualization platform has its own team that sort of manages what is allowed to and what the permission sort of security implications are for it. But as far as content governance, we similarly have a dev stage prod that are generally pretty locked down. The dev and stage pretty severely locked down. Those are things that one group of people gets access to those areas. We don't really make many exceptions for it. But as far as the prod area goes, that's where we've got a sort of designated group of, we call them project owners, which are kind of the head of the business unit that understand just general Tableau administration tools, like how to create groups, how to change permissions for groups, how to create projects, that sort of thing. So we kind of designate these people, empower them with the knowledge of sort of how to administrate their own microcosm, and let them sort of dictate what is the sort of security permission structure that is relevant to their work. So it offloads that responsibility from the admin team to the business users. But obviously we kind of need to find a balance there between, just giving them the keys and letting them make their own mistakes and having some accountability. So we're actually like exploring some options for how to, use just different kinds of data management tools, like Informatica is what we currently use to allow people to basically just identify who are responsible for various aspects of the content that's been published there, to let them operate at the speed that they need to operate at, and let them know there is a trade-off of operating at the speed, is that you're responsible for when decisions are made that are maybe not great. And so far there haven't been many issues as far as I'm aware. People are generally pretty responsible, and it kind of goes back to that whole Red Hat open source ethos, where you let the space be open and trust that people do what they need to do for their business, and just make sure they realize there's accountability that comes with that trade-off.
Good. All right. Okay, so back to Marty again. Do you have any tools or scripts or things that you use to do automation and make your day-to-day job easier? Do you build anything off the APIs, or what kinds of tricks and tips do you have to make your server life easier than just out of the box functionality? If you have any, it's okay if you don't, but we'd be curious.
Right. Yeah, we've done some sort of basic Windows scripting for backups and cleanups, and we actually have sort of a homegrown scripting for triggering refreshes using the tab command. We really haven't dived into the REST APIs directly as far as server administration, even though that's always on my list. I never quite get there, but I'm going to get there someday. We have incorporated something sort of that sits on top of Tableau. It's called Curator by Interworks, if anyone's familiar with them. And I think they may have spoken once or twice at this user group in the past. That tool is sort of a portal that allows us to make more of our sort of enterprise-wide dashboards easier to access and not quite so locked down as we tend to do with Tableau Server directly. And so that makes direct use of REST API calls and trusted authentication. And so we've set that environment up to sit on top of Tableau Server. It's kind of interesting. We chose to go with a Linux Red Hat server as the backend for Curator, while our Tableau Server environment is Windows. So we kind of have things going in both worlds there. So,
all right. How about you, Ben T?
So Ken knows that this is the part of my job that I love more than anything, digging into the guts, automation, the APIs. And almost from day one, back in 2012, I've been trying to do this. So whether it is automated governance alerts, so if someone adds a user that's not a member of an AD group, they get an email right away, hey, you're breaking the rules, or their workbook is larger than 5 gigabytes, or their nightly extract fails, right? Once our content moves to production, it's owned by our service account instead of by the individual. So they might not get the email that the job failed, but our systems do that. Using the REST APIs to automatically deactivate users if that's needed. There's a lot of new stuff that we're building as well. We have an entire new portal of Tableau automated utilities where our users can upload a little config file, and it generates a PDF with 50 different dashboards. And the dashboard can have all their different filters, combining multiple dashboards into one PDF output. we're even building an automated production migration process where teams will go in and they can choose exactly which workbooks they want to move from production staging into production. And right now, they fill out a ServiceNow ticket and they, our team or our production support team has to manually take care of all of that. But these new utilities, it'll download the workbook using the APIs. It'll parse through the XML of the workbook looking for different code. So it'll do an automated code review. It'll be querying the database. It'll check it into GitLab for version control. It'll then, once certain criteria are met, once it's published, once it's approved and the time period hits, it then moves it directly to production, looking at the different tags that are associated with it. Another one that we've had for a couple of years is we have a Tableau metrics project that we create on each site, and we publish different data sources that allow people to see all of their usage metrics. All right, Tableau has some admin reports, but this is kind of the raw data so they can build their own analytics. And so our automated scripts that use the APIs, it loops through every site, and changes the site filter within the data source so that they're only looking at their own data, and then publishes it up to the site. And we can do that for any kind of standard content. If we had an HR hierarchy that we wanted to be available on everyone's site, or any common data elements. We haven't really gone deep into the common data elements yet, other than the Tableau metrics. But I just want to give a plug out to everyone who possibly can be involved with the APIs. There's so much stuff you can do, a ton of different benefits that it will bring to your company. And so, go for it.
Yeah,
Awesome.
Impressive. But if you keep that up, you're going to automate yourself out of a job, it sounds like.
Hey, there's always something more to do. We
Okay.
just don't need 10 people on the team.
Well, so for everybody here tonight, if you are able to publish your Tableau workbook or your prep builder flow someplace, and if you're able to partake of content that others have created, you should thank these guys. Thank the Tableau server and Tableau online admins that keep the lights on and keep the ball rolling. They burn up a lot of nights and weekends making that happen, and it takes a lot of arcane and unseen work. So always be grateful to your Tableau server admins, be nice to them, and try to work with them, because anytime that there's alignment between what the business is trying to accomplish versus what the system is set up to do, then everybody wins. And thank you all for your participation, and I hope that everyone got a few interesting insights out of that, saw some new tips and tricks and techniques to try, and some new directions to go in. And then back over to you, Christopher.
And there we go. Sorry. Yeah, we actually did have a question, a quick question from Moataz, who actually was part of our Tableau, what do we call it? The Viz contest a few months ago. And so he actually asked a really good question that I kind of struggle with myself. Essentially, how, for any of you server admins here, kind of talking about user enablement, engagement, when you have new users coming on, it's kind of a general question around published data sets. So obviously you have hundreds of, or maybe thousands of data sets out there. You got all these published data sets. How do you enable users, like custom? I know, Ben, you talked a little bit about custom, content and then curator. I know, Marty, you mentioned that. So those are two ways. What do you give for your users as they're coming on board to kind of enact with, or sorry, to interact with their content?
So I'll just jump in really quick. We mostly leave that to the individual site admins, right? Because sites are so completely segregated from each other. There's no possible overlap of data that, they have the responsibility of teaching their new users, their new developers, hey, these are the common data sources we have available. I will say that we are also deploying a metric insight product. They're also a third-party kind of Tableau professional services team. That's their BI portal. So this is something that is going across the bank that will pull in all the Tableau dashboards, all the MicroStrategy reports, all the click stuff, whatever it is at the bank, Excel files, and make everything searchable and visible in one central place. So that doesn't really relate to data sources so much, but we don't have a central place where people can search. We actually do have some lineage analysis that we also do as a governance rule, where we pull in all of the information that's in the data sources and where they're connecting to, but that's not generally accessible to end users, or it would be to developers though. So I guess Analytics DS is the product we use that that could provide that as well, all centralized, and then pulls it in from Informatica, pulls it in from our other BI platforms as well. So we do try and get as much information out there as possible, but it's per site for us.
Cool.
Yeah.
Marty, does Curator handle that? Or sorry, Ben, don't want to jump on your toes. Go ahead.
A big ditto to kind of delegating to the business owners. They know their data better than any general support platform admin side can. But one thing that we do is we have kind of like an onboarding documentation, piece of our onboarding documentation that we specifically mention some of the more universal things. So we also have a sort of like content usage data set that is going to be relevant regardless of your department. So kind of having an onboarding piece of documentation that you can hand off to new users that highlights those cross department things, but also really emphasizing that these users are empowered to reach out to the business owners for questions that they have about business unit specific things. I think it's all about kind of informing that agency and letting them have, realize they have a voice there if they have questions.
Marty?
Sure. What I mentioned about Informatica earlier, I think is really where we're trying to focus both the business and Tableau developers to go looking for data and hopefully again reusing existing Tableau data sources more and more. Curator is for our purposes is really just for the business having access to the dashboards themselves and not really the data sources beneath them, and even Tableau developers, they're still going to work in the Tableau server, Tableau Desktop server environment, not really directly in Curator, at least not right now. So Informatica is kind of where we're gathering all the data assets, and anyone who wants to dive in, is welcome to use that.
Cool. All right. Awesome. Well, thank you so much. And we're going to entertain if there's any other questions, post them in the chat. But I'm going to jump in because again, what you all just talked about leads into this next feature. So I'm not only the Tableau user group leader, but I am also I don't want to put this. So I am an accidental server admin, and I really fall, I fall in the lineage of you all great server admins. And I wish that maybe one day I'll grow up and be one of you server admins. So I'm gonna share my screen here, and we're gonna kind of jump in to some Tableau server features. So what are some features in Tableau server that both these wonderful server admins can take advantage of, but also more importantly, you all as users of Tableau server, of desktop, what can you take advantage of on your server to make the most impact as you use Tableau? Because I think the one kind of overarching question that I don't know if it was, again, I was paying attention, but I don't know if it was directly mentioned. So I'm going to go ahead and restate it in case it wasn't restated here on the front end. So for those of you that are kind of, maybe you're brand new to Tableau, and maybe you're brand new to this whole space, right? I want to introduce you and talk, what are we talking about here? So again, we're talking about Tableau Server. So as we talk about the different aspects of Tableau, there's I'll let Ken step in here in just a minute, but we talk about the different aspects of Tableau, and there is Tableau Desktop, which is a fantastic tool. And I think that's, when we talk about how, what is Tableau, the main thrust that we're going to talk about is things about Tableau Desktop. So what are, how to build, a bar chart, how to build a Sankey, how to do, this and that and this and that. Well, those are great things, but there's also this other little piece here when we talk about, how do we share our insights? How do we communicate with data with desktop? And that's a feature that is often overlooked. And, Ben, I love Ben Torgerson, but Ben is where he is right now at Truist, because of what, the things that we did, because we realized at BB&T, which is now Truist, like you can't just stick with desktop. You have to be able to share your insights, and then you have to be able to, to manage your content and manage your data and do all of these things. And so, I mean, personally, I couldn't manage it all. Ben is a much more brilliant individual than I am. And so when they needed somebody that could take over, I'm so glad that Ben Torgerson is at Truist now, because he can manage all of that and take Truist and Tableau to where, I could only dream about it going, 10, 15 years ago. So I mention all that because what we're talking about from our panel of experts here to what I'm going to mention here is this aspect of Tableau Server. And so whether that's you've either spun it up on a on a Windows cluster, or whether you're out on AWS, or you are utilizing Tableau software as a service, Tableau Online, all these features and functionalities are only available in this server environment. And so when we talk about the different aspects of Tableau, we're talking about, okay, not just desktop, not just I'm gonna build this dashboard, but no, once I've got this dashboard built, how do I share these insights and communicate these insights with others? Apart from can use the G word, I'm going to use the R word. Apart from Tableau Reader, which those of you that have been around Tableau long enough know that is kind of a dirty word within the Tableau community. But we don't just want to share our insights either by a screenshot. We want to actually utilize the functionality of Tableau, and we do that by publishing our content to Tableau Server. So what I'm going to do is we're going to talk about making a splash with some features. So whether you are in, you're in Marty or Ben Hart or Ben Torgerson's role of actually managing and utilizing a server, or you're just a user and you're wondering, okay, how do I get the most out of this server experience? So I'm going to dive in and I'm going to talk about ways that you as a user or you as a server admin can make the most of your Tableau server. So you all know me at this point. Christopher Scott, again, you can find me at CG Scott DVA or at RDU Tug. I post there pretty infrequently unless it's Tableau conference, and I'll be posting all the time. So get your live feed updates from me on Twitter. I am a co-leader of the Raleigh Durham Tableau user group that you all are part of, and so extremely thankful for this community, and also the folks like Marty. Like I sat in his COE that he talked about. I mean, giving me constant ideas, like the things that Marty talked about. I'm like, I should be doing that. And so again, they invited me to come and talk, and I'm learning more about Tableau and Tableau server than I ever knew. And so Marty, thank you for letting me be part of that, and thank you for sitting in on our panel tonight. So this is how this community grows and engages with one another. I'm also, as I mentioned before, I'm a business intelligence enablement lead here at Enact Mortgage Insurance. I also run our Tableau server, so which we have just recently, and we are done as of today. We have migrated our entire server from an on-prem environment to Tableau Online. So if that is in your future, or you want to know more about how to migrate from Tableau on-prem to Tableau Online, ask me. Ben Hart, I know he's on Tableau Online, and so we would be happy to field some of those questions if you have those questions about what does that look like? What does Tableau Online look like? How can you take advantage of some of those features and functionalities? And then as you may or may not know, I do have 4 kids and a dog, Penelope, who is now 10, she's now a year old. I am very busy. And so one of the primary reasons we moved to Tableau Online is because as much as I love Marty and I love Ben Torgerson, I am one person. I have a full-time job as a dad. I have a full-time job here. I run our tug, and I also do 1,000 other things. And so I don't have a full team to support. I don't have a server admin. So I can't support a full Tableau environment. So bless you that can run a full, Tableau, server on your own, or have a team. I was just at the point where I could not manage it. And so we utilize, we decided it was time to utilize Tableau Online to really help and support us. So all of that to be said, what I'm going to share with you all over the next like 5-10 minutes is just ways that you yourself can, you can utilize Tableau, or more importantly, you can help your users utilize Tableau server to help to get to that next level where you want to take Tableau in your organization. So we're going to talk about a few things that I think go overlooked. Most importantly, the home screen, these custom views. How can you utilize subscriptions, alerts, some of the new features in what Tableau is calling augmented analytics, like Ask Data and Explain Data, which is new in 2021.4. Marty, I hope you guys get there very soon, because Explain Data, I mean, I can't wait to see more people utilize Explain Data and how they can take advantage of Tableau's kind of, already built in analytics with machine learning and automated intelligence built in there. And then as of yesterday, so Ben, I don't know if you guys, Ben Hart, I don't know if you guys have already utilized this functionality in Tableau Online, but Accelerator in 2022.1 already, since it went live yesterday, 2 use cases here at Enact where we've utilized Accelerator. So I know just about this much about it. I'm gonna let Ken talk about that at the end of this presentation. But things that, if you're already kind of on the fence about whether or not to upgrade or not, absolutely. Marty, thank you for mentioning that Tableau is going to that every twice a year cadence. Every quarter was, it may have seemed like a lot, and to be honest, we were struggling with upgrading every quarter as well. I think we were on 2020.1 until we moved to Tableau Online, and so it was a struggle, even as active as I am about getting Tableau updated. It's just really, the cadence is really difficult. But I think going to every twice a year, it is something that absolutely, like, every single organization that is using Tableau server should take advantage of these features and functionalities, because obviously we haven't talked a lot about the Log4j issues. Marty, I was part of your user group, and I know you talked about that. I know as an organization, Tableau did a lot of communication about that. But those features and functionalities, like if you're not up to date, like these are vulnerabilities that your organizations can't they can't stand. Like you've got to do the upgrades. So not only the features great, but also the security. It's it's kind of a crucial factor. So again, utilize, like Marty, Ben, and Ken, and myself, utilize this community to help you. If your organization is struggling to upgrade, like, use us, ask us how you can, we can help you to take that next step into upgrading your server, helping your server admins. This is what this community is all about helping one another. So make yourself at home. Utilize the favorites. And not a lot of individuals utilize that little star icon on the Tableau server. The biggest place, a lot of people use bookmarks, and so I'm gonna jump into into Tableau here, the Tableau Online. right? So you jump into your home screen. You know, a lot of people will go into Tableau, they'll use the bookmarks, but let's be honest, right? Your server, you know, your server, your workbook, all of your IDs, they could change overnight. And I mean, again, we're a family here, right? We're just sharing. This has happened. Our server addresses, our URLs, they've changed overnight. Like something could update. We could update like our server. We could upgrade our, you know, whatever the case is. And those bookmarks, they're going to break. So what way can you prevent that breakage and the user, you know, your user's interface? Get them to utilize the favorites. You personally, I'm looking at each and every one of you. You visit a dashboard more than twice, go ahead and click that little star icon. It's right here on every single visualization, or if you're right in the visualization, it's right here on the dashboard. Click the star, utilize it. That way, when you go home, every single time, all you have to do is go to your server, go home, and then your favorites will be right here on the top. You don't have to go searching through your hundreds or thousands of dashboards to search for your stuff that you're looking for. Also, recents. Like, I know me, I am constantly, every day, searching. I'm showcasing, you know, dashboards. I'm showcasing or looking for something, and I'll often go, at the end of the day, I'll go in tomorrow and I'll go, oh gosh, what was it? What was that workbook I was looking at? And maybe it's not in the last 4 that I visited, but you know what? It's right here in the last ones I visited 3 days ago or last week. So I can jump in and I can tell exactly what it was that I was looking at from that standpoint. So utilize your recents. And then Ken, I'm gonna put a spotlight on Tableau here for a moment, because this is one of the most highly underutilized functions within Tableau, but one of the most brilliant functions. And it's in your Tableau, whether you're in Tableau Online or whether you're in Tableau Server. Tableau's recommendations functions is extremely underutilized. And so I highlight this because why is this recommended? It's recommended by people with viewing habits similar to yours who have looked at this. So Tableau is, I mean, I can't even begin to talk about the algorithms and the logistics and the inferences that Tableau, the developers. And so I want to make a plug here. If you come in person or if you're looking at it online, TC22, come to Devs on Stage. Do not miss this session. Because a lot of what you experience every single day is brought to you by Tableau devs that make this possible. I get super excited about all of these devs on stage and about all these functions because they make your life easier. You all, I mean, every single one of us, I'm the first one to admit, every single one of us takes for granted how awesome recommendations are because we just go, oh, they're just recommendations. No. Tableau developers are constantly looking for ways to make your user experience that much better. And so they're using machine learning and algorithms and AI to actually create recommendations based on your groups, on your viewing activity, on users that are like you, that are using viewing activity. And so they put that right on your home screen. So, you know, please, you know, we gave a round of applause to our server admins. They make things better for us. You know, give a round of applause. Say thank you when you're at conference or you're in a chat session at TC22. You know, say thank you to the Tableau devs because they make these things possible. All right, so that is the home screen for us. And sorry. All right, so we've done our favorites, we've done our recents, we've done our recommendations. You know, create custom views. Click on a view, make easy access for users to return to their data. And then also when they're creating subscriptions, did you know that you can create subscriptions based on custom views? So I know we're kind of running short on time, so I'm not going to go in there, but utilize custom views, utilize subscriptions and alerts, create data-driven alerts based on your users' activity. And then again, custom alerts based on those custom views, custom subscriptions, based on those things. I mean, again, this is a very you-centric, that used to be our motto here at Enact. Like we're all about you-centric data, right? Tableau is all about creating a custom environment for each and every single user. So let's utilize this functionality to create custom subscriptions, custom alerts, custom views for each and every single user. So let's kind of dive in here. I want to spend a little bit of time here and talk about what is Ask Data and what is Explain Data. So not only do I want to talk about this, but I want you to know that I'm going to drop this link here in the chat, but you can go and test these features. So even if I know somebody mentioned Ben Torgeson or Ken mentioned that they're struggling. Some businesses are struggling to even like get their server admin teams to try out some of these new features and functionalities. Well, that's great because Tableau has provided you a sandbox to, even if it's not your data, you can go test out these features and these functionalities for yourself on Tableau Online directly for yourself. So I'm going to drop a link. I'm going to copy this link here. I'm going to include it in the chat here. All right. And so we got a lot of chat going on here in the background. But yeah, so go check this, test this link out for yourself, and you'll be able to test out these functionalities of Ask Data and Explain Data. And actually in desktop now, if you have upgraded it to 2021.4 or 2021.3, I think you can actually build this in. So where you can do Ask Data right here on the dashboard. So your users that they have a question, they see this is a typical dashboard for a user. They've got more questions. They want to know, what's in my data? What are the key elements here? Well, you can actually bake this right in for your users so they can ask questions with natural language. So which states have the highest profit? And so as I'm typing out this question, I'm typing it out in natural language, and Tableau is already building out the query for us. So me as a user, I don't have to know how to write a SQL statement. I don't know how to use Tableau. Who cares? Tableau is bringing the analytics right to your doorstep. So those of you that manage a server or manage a COE, or you're just the Tableau expert in your organization, utilize this functionality, and so people can automatically start asking questions of the data that may not be in your dashboard. Maybe you're responsible for building dashboards, and you say, I just don't have the time in the day to build every single dashboard for every single user in my organization. Well, you don't have to. You've got this in Ask Data, so you can start building out these queries with natural language, and then voila, which states have the highest profit? I'm going to submit my question, and voila, boom, I've got my visualization. I've asked my question, top 1 by profit in the United States using my data set, and look at that. California in 2001 had the highest profit, and then it sorts my data. I didn't have to know anything about Tableau. I just had to ask a simple question with Ask Data. So again, we're talking about augmented analytics, fantastic. And then with Ask Data, and then Explain Data does something similar. You want to know, hey, I see that Colorado is very high. Well, why is Colorado higher than everybody else? Why is it bright orange? Or I'm sorry, lower. The profit ratio is lower than others for expected for this viz. Well, it looks like order profitable, the distribution for orders profitable or unprofitable. I've got a lot of unprofitable orders in my data set. And again, augmented analytics, we don't have to go and query our data. We don't have to ask any other questions. Tableau is giving us this functionality right on our dashboard. Now, if you're a server admin, come to me, come to Ben, come to Marty. We can show you how to enable these features and these functionalities right on your server. It's not, I'll be honest with all of you that are server admins, it's not built out of the box. Like, you have to click a few things, you have to turn a few things on, you have to enable this functionality for your users. But I wanted to show you all what is possible within Tableau server that is going to, again, the whole idea is augmenting the analytics. We build beautiful dashboards, but then we want to, our users always want to know, so what? They want to ask more questions. So we want to enable that exploration, that functionality. And then if you're a server admin, I'll just jump to my last point here. if you are a server admin, Tableau has just released this new functionality called Accelerator. So on each and every dashboard, Ken, I'm not seeing it on my augmented analytics dashboard. Maybe it's not turned on.
Yeah, I don't think there's a demo for that because there's some backend work you have to enable.
Okay.
Sorry, I don't know Demo Depot all that well. I apologize, but I don't
Okay.
see it either.
So I really want to.
You know what?
This.
Let's do that. Let's do that for next quarter's tug. We can get into it then.
That sounds fantastic. Well, I will just have you know that we have used it twice in 24 hours. But there's a new feature and functionality. If you want to know more about it, I will drop the link here in the chat for what is Accelerator and how to turn it on and all that wonderful stuff. But essentially, you know, all of that wonderful workbook and performance optimizer, we've got it right on. And I probably do not want to show that. Sorry. I'm going to stop sharing for now, but you can jump right in and augment and accelerate your dashboards, each and every dashboard, optimize the data sources, accelerate the dashboards. So all of that to be said, you know, it's just a fantastic addition to Tableau Server, and it's available 2022.1, both on-prem and Tableau Online. So again, if you are interested, you know, ask Ken. We'll have a demo for it in our next Tableau user group. Jesse, Ken, you guys want to talk about what we're going to be doing with the Raleigh Durham Tableau user group for TC22 and our next upcoming Tableau user group?
Sure. Hey, so we are planning an in-person event, our first one in 2 years.
2 years.
We're planning that to be around the time of Tableau conference in May. So that will probably be somewhere centrally located in the triangle. We have a sponsor identified, which is Fivetran, and more details will come soon.
Yep.
Fivetran is a cloud-hosted ETL company, which they will tell you about at the event, I'm sure.
Yep, they will for sure. So again, if you can't make it out to TC22, I don't know. We don't know the exact date yet. It'll probably be around TC22. It may be during, and you may be able to catch one of the keynotes. You know, we're still in the planning phases of that event. So I highly recommend, you know, again, you should. So I actually got the email if you registered for tonight's event. So if you're joining us or you're watching this on YouTube, if you registered for tonight's event, you're actually brought into our community. You were brought into the email chain, and so you will get the email. So as soon as we plan as soon as we have our next tug planned and we have all the details, you will get an email about that event. So because you registered for tonight, you are now part of, again, you're part of our RDU tug data family. So so thank you all for registering. Thank you all for coming out. Thank you, Marty, Ben, Ken, our wonderful RDU Tableau user group leadership team. Again, you know, you all have hung with us through all of this pandemic. You know, we're not quite 100% done with it yet, but we are super excited about the next Tableau user group that will be in person. We'll have a virtual element. So if you can't make it, or you're still, you know, a little wary about coming out in person, we'll have a virtual element. We'll stream it live so you can join us. So we're so excited to have you all. If you do have questions, you know, please send us an email, rdutug@gmail.com. We'll try to answer some of the questions offline here. And also, because you did register tonight, we'll do a drawing after the tug. We kind of ran out of time here, but we'll do a drawing after the tug for some swag. And so we will give away. Just look out in your email if you are selected, and we'll ask you to send us your email, and you'll get some swag. as being part of our RDU Tug family. Marty, thank you for joining us. Ben, thank you for joining us for the Tug. Thank you all, RDU Tug family. We look forward to seeing you in person coming up sometime May, June around conference. Thank you so much, and we will see you at the next RDU Tug. Have a great night, and we will catch you next quarter. Thank you.